Am I the a-hole for secretly cheating on our vegetarian diet that my wife made our family do? I want to start by saying I, 38M, love my family and wife, 35F, and I have never been the type to do anything like this before. 12 months ago, my wife converted to a new religion, which included her giving up eating meat. The whole family, me and our 2 young boys, were supportive of this, and we held a vegetarian-only dinner that night as a little sign of support. Life continues for another 8 months basically unchanged. The boys and I eat meat, and my wife doesn't. However, things start to change around that 8 to 10 month marker, can't remember exactly. Basically, along with not eating meat, my wife now no longer wanted to be around it. This wasn't the only thing. Things continued to progress. Basically, my wife started to replace things in the house with substitutes. First, the pork in the house was swapped out for jackfruit, eggs were swapped out for substitutes like just egg, shirts were only bought from clean brands like plant-based clothing, and deodorants were swapped out for deodorant pills like Go Scentless. You get the idea. To say this was creating a rift would be an understatement, and eventually, I brought up to our wife that again, while we 100% support her in her decisions around these things, I didn't think it should change things for the boys and me, unless of course they wanted it. Wife argued that her values have changed, and that being around some of this stuff was really hard for her, and wanted us to support her. For the next 2 to 3 months, the house was a place of pretty high tension. It had gotten so bad that the boys have friends bringing them meat from their houses, since it was now completely gone from ours. Anyway, about a week ago my wife went away on a few day-long business trip, meaning I was watching the boys Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Basically, and I'm a bit ashamed to type this out, but the boys and I mostly ate meat, basically every chance we got. This was all fine and dandy, the boys and I had a great time, until my wife returned home, and it somehow slipped out what we had done. I have never seen her so disappointed in us. After putting the boys to bed we argued for hours about how I was setting a poor example for the boys, that I should respect the decisions made by my wife, even if they're tough and inconvenient. It's hard to argue back, because I can see her side, but it boils down simply to just I don't want to be vegetarian/vegan, and neither do the boys. Am I the a-hole? Top comments, commenter 1, NTA, she said she got rid of it because she couldn't be around it. Well, she wasn't around it. Also, you guys did not convert to her religion, so she can't expect that you follow it. Not really sure what the problem is when she wasn't home. Commenter 2, Op should have simply refused to take the diet so they wouldn't feel guilty for cheating whilst they're not. Update, I want to thank everyone again for your help. My wife and I sat down and read through most of the top ones, and it helped her see some of the stuff we were dealing with. Here's the original post if you'd like to read it. Feels so long ago now. Here is quick recap of the first post. 12 months ago, my wife converted to a new religion, which included her giving up eating meat. Basically, along with not eating meat, my wife now no longer wanted to be around it. This wasn't the only thing. Things continued to progress. Basically, my wife started to replace things in the house with substitutes. First, the pork in the house was swapped out for jackfruit, eggs were swapped out for substitutes like just egg, shirts were only bought from clean brands like plant-based clothing, and deodorants were swapped out for those Go Scentless deodorant pills, etc. etc. Basically, it had gotten so bad that the boys were have their friends sneak the meat at school. It eventually boiled over to a crazy situation once me and the boys had some meat dinners while my wife was out of town. Afterwards. After my /r post went crazy, me and the wife basically sat down and tried to talk everything out, using the comments as a guide. Some were pretty mean though. After hours and hours of debating and about a week of going back and forth, the final place we came to is somewhat hard to put it into written words, but basically, the boys should be able to live how they want, as they didn't make a decision to be part of this family, but I've, chosen to be part of this family, and be with my wife, and if I can't meet my wife and her values, I should decide if I actually want to continue to be a part of this family. So basically the boys are off the hook until they get a bit older and are able to make decisions at this level on their own, but in order to continue being with my wife, I need to sacrifice and meet her where her values are. I know Reddit doesn't want to hear this, but I'm willing to make a sacrifice like this to 1. Keep my family together 2. Allow the boys to have their freedom. When I wrote the original post, all I cared about was my boys' ability to choose their own lifestyle, whether that be the one we have or some crazy lifestyle that they want. And I think I've gotten us to that place now. I don't use Reddit much, but I'll check back within a month or 2 and let everyone know how we're doing. But I think we've finally found a path forward. Top comments, commenter 1, NTA for making the sacrifice. But this is the slope that you're starting on. She's going to need you to keep meeting her values. I've, chosen to be part of this family, and be with my wife, and if I can't meet my wife and her values, I should decide if I actually want to continue to be a part of this family. This argument is faulty. You didn't choose to part of this family. You made this family with her on terms you both agreed on. She unilaterally changed some of the terms and expects you to still abide by your original terms. That's bullshit. You need to renegotiate if anything. As for you choosing to be part of the family, so did she. If her values aren't the same as yours, then she's the one choosing to not be in this relationship. Dude, you just let her gaslight you into thinking you're responsible for failing the relationship. YTA for sucking everything down. Commenter 2. Also, I read this as basically saying that the boys will be required to decide if they want to continue to be a part of the family too when they get a bit older. All dad has done here, at best, is defer the situation for his sons for a few years. Story 2. I 28F think a nap ruined my marriage to 30M. I 28F am married to 30M. I'll probably delete this as the morning, but I need to scream into the void. I've been married for under a year, but with my husband for 6. We have a 3-month-old little girl who's fantastic. I'm a first-time mom who's a som. My husband WFH. My husband's not dumb, just emotionally inept sometimes. I've had a lot of resentment building since I was pregnant. His mom tormented me through my pregnancy by talking about miscarriages, stillbirths, and saying dead baby to me every time my husband wasn't around. She denied, he sympathized with me, but nothing was truly ever done. Since I gave birth, my husband's just been clueless. When I was there recovering, he would go home and sleep and leave me all alone because the couch was uncomfortable. I had to call him 20 times to get him to wake up and come back to the hospital because I was lonely. Then when we left, he was asking me to carry things to the car with him. The nurse had to tell him I shouldn't carrying anything, I'd just given birth. When we got home, he complained about his lack of sleep. I was struggling learning how to nurse. He was my cheerleader through nursing, I have to give him credit there. As the first 2 months went by, I was consistently bawling about how sleep-deprived I was while he was getting 8 to 10 hours of uninterrupted sleep every night. It caused a lot of fights because I couldn't hear him tell me he was exhausted without having a meltdown. Then his mom would come over and they'd leave a huge mess for me to clean on more than one occasion. He complained about the basement being messy, so I helped him lift things and clean it up. It caused me to start bleeding heavily, and my doctor told me I shouldn't be lifting anything heavy. This is a point of contention because my husband continuously asked me to help him lift heavy things and I couldn't, so he'd get annoyed. Then he'd complain about it all day. Now we're at month 3 and I think my marriage is over. We've been distant ever since baby arrived and I haven't wanted to have sex or be affectionate. Husband has been asking if I'm alright a lot and I say I'm fine. I don't know what else to say. But I feel miserable and tense up every time he walks in the same room as me. Today he was on my case about walking our dog. I'm so exhausted from exclusively breastfeeding and I don't have the energy to walk her. I had been up since 2:30 a.m. with my baby and just couldn't handle anything else on my plate. So he whined and moaned about doing it but promised me I could nap. I snapped and reminded him that I haven't slept a full 8 hours in months. He got pissy and stormed off. He avoided me the entire day and locked himself in his office. I spent the rest of the day randomly breaking down in full-blown sobs because I was so tired. 11 p.m. hits and he hasn't come out of his office, so I finally break and go get him. He gives me the cold shoulder and I just break down. All the lack of support just broke me. I told him I hated him, I wish I could go home, and I even mentioned divorce. He calmed me down and apologized for being selfish. When I asked what he did all day, he said he napped. He napped the whole day. While I was struggling to keep myself standing, he was napping. I broke down. I cried and cried. He was apologetic and showering me in sorries and I love yous. For the first time ever I couldn't tell him I loved him too. Now it's 2 a.m. and I can't sleep because I'm so distraught. He's snoring next to me and I just hate him right now. I want to take my baby and run away. I don't want to live here anymore. Being a single mom seems easier than dealing with all this emotional stress and neglect. What am I supposed to do? I just can't believe I'm ready to leave him all because he took a nap. Update 1. I fixed the FTM, it means first time mom not female to male. So we talked. Well, I talked, he listened. I told him I couldn't do this anymore and something needed to change immediately or I was going to go back home and take my baby with me. He stared at me confused, but then he realized I had 2 bags packed by my dresser and ready to leave. I finally was able to articulate all the resentment that had been building. His mom's cruel and careless behavior, feeling abandoned at the hospital and now at home, how it feels that everything falls onto me so he can bring a paycheck home. I realized after saying all this I hadn't really told him how I was feeling, but just continued to bottle it up. He was defensive at first, and I gave him one warning that if this conversation was filled with excuses, I'm walking out. So he stopped and truly listened. He was genuinely remorseful. He only said sorry once at the end, and he meant it. Then he started asking me what I needed him to do. We made a plan, and I finally feel like I can breathe a little easier. He has dog walks handled indefinitely. MIL is banned from the house and to have no contact with me or my baby. Once husband's off work, I'm off duty for the day. I'll still breastfeed because I want to do that. I get a lot of fulfillment out of it, and if you saw the way my baby pats my boob when she nurses, you would too. Her big hazel eyes are like a drug. I'm typing this while soaking in a warm bath. I've been promised the weekend to decompress and sleep until my heart's content. I'll pump instead of nurse this weekend, and we have a stash of frozen milk he is planning on using. He knows what needs to be done, her routine, how much to feed her, so I know he's capable. I can actually hear him unloading the dishwasher right now. We are planning on doing something as a couple one day out of each weekend, so I don't feel like just a mom. I can be a person too. We are going to go to couples counseling, and I'm going to start individual therapy. He's already in therapy. He didn't have a dad who showed him what love looked like. He had an adult toddler as a father who threw tantrums and verbally abused him and his mother. My husband often comments on how my dad drops everything in a nanosecond for me and how he wants to be like that. But he's not. He's failing me and his daughter. That was really tough for him to hear. So, now we take it day by day. If he's actually capable of change, I'll have to wait and see. My bags are still packed and by the door. I guess I have them there as a reminder to myself that leaving is an option at any moment I please. That makes me feel a little better. I'm hopeful but not delusional. I know we might not be able to come back from this, and that's okay. I have to take care of myself, so my little girl has a mama who smiles at things besides her. I have an appointment scheduled for a PPD screening, and my mom's planning on visiting the start of next month. My family is ready with their door wide open when I choose to come home. Made me cry to hear my dad tell me he'll be on the first flight when I'm ready, so I don't have to fly home alone. Thank you all for letting me spill my guts. Update 2. I have been wanting to update but have been scared. I've felt so overwhelmed and haven't been sure what to write. That post I wrote was me at my lowest. I wish I could take the version of me in time and just hug her. I was broken down and I needed anyone to be real with me. Those comments felt like a slap in the face and way too much to handle all at once. So I needed time to read through and digest it all. Thank you everyone. I was diagnosed with postpartum depression and anxiety shortly after I made my post. To the people who pushed me to talk to my doctor, thank you. My life has improved tenfold after getting proper treatment. I feel like in normal updates people dive into their lives and the details of what's happened. I don't want to do that. I want to say something that's more important than me and my life. To the new moms and their loved ones, if you or anyone you know has just had a baby, check in on them. If you've just had a baby, make sure you have someone who's tuned into you. Although you have brought new life into the world and it should be joyous, you are allowed to feel whatever you feel. Please, even if you feel fine, prioritize your mental health and well-being, because your baby depends on you to be healthy so they can be healthy. What you are going through is valid and important, and you need someone to look out for you. While you look out for baby, someone needs to look out for you with the same love and care. As for me, my life has turned around. Taking care of myself was what I needed. I know people told me to leave my husband and how horrible he is, and like every other excuse post, you don't understand because you're not living it. I'm happy, safe, and healthy, but most importantly my daughter is thriving. It took a lot of work and it will continue to take a lot more. I love my husband and he has shown through time that he can be reliable and hasn't faltered. I really thought he would fail and was expecting it most days. But he hasn't, he actually turned it around, and that feels better than winning the lottery. I guess people can change when they really want to. Can't they? I could go on and on, but things are better. My daughter's happy and healthy. She's feisty like me and nothing's gonna stop her. She loves her daddy as much as I do, sometimes more. And now with a clear head I can see that things are okay because we have, and continue to learn how to communicate with one another. If I could pass anything on, check on your loved ones. Sometimes they don't even know how hard they're struggling until you pull the wool from over their eyes. Thank you to everyone. Posting was the push I needed to get help.